Imagine this. You're dating someone in Vietnam. She's 28 years old. She has her own job, her own apartment, her own life. But she still has a curfew. 9 p.m. set by her parents. Not a joke. Not an old family story from decades ago. This is happening right now in modern cities like Hanoi and Saigon. And it's just the first of 10 things that completely catch foreigners off guard when they start dating in Vietnam. Some of these will make you question everything you thought you knew about relationships here. Stay until the end, because number 7 surprises even people who have lived in Vietnam for years. Dating in a new country always comes with a learning curve. But Vietnam is different from most places foreigners expect. It looks modern on the surface. Coffee shops, dating apps, motorbikes everywhere. But underneath that surface is a set of rules that nobody explains to you. Break one of them by accident and you can lose someone's trust instantly. Follow them, and doors open that most foreigners never even knew existed. This isn't about stereotypes. This is about what actually happens, based on real interviews, real expat experiences, and real research into Vietnamese dating culture. Let's start with the one that shocks foreigners the most. Number 1. The curfew. In many Western countries, curfews are something you had as a teenager. In Vietnam, they can follow a woman well into her 20s, sometimes even her 30s. One American man living in Ho Chi Minh City described exactly this. His girlfriend's parents set a 9 p.m. curfew for her. She was an adult. She had a full-time job. But the rule still applied. Why does this happen? Family authority in Vietnam doesn't disappear once someone becomes an adult. Parents often see their daughter's safety and reputation as their responsibility for life, not just childhood. For foreigners, this can feel controlling. But for many Vietnamese families, it's a sign of care, not punishment. If you're dating someone with a curfew like this, don't fight it. Respect it, ask questions calmly, and let trust build over time. Pushing against it too hard is one of the fastest ways to lose respect from the family. Some foreigners try to argue their way around it, treating it as something to negotiate away. That almost always backfires. The families who set these rules usually loosen them over time, once trust is established. Rushing that process or complaining about it to your partner sends the wrong message entirely. Number 2. You'll meet the family faster than you expect. In many countries, meeting the parents is a big milestone. It happens after months, sometimes after a year. In Vietnam, it can happen almost immediately. Parents often want to meet the person their child is dating early on. Not to approve of the relationship exactly, but to feel secure. One scholar who studies Vietnamese family culture explained it simply. Parents want to understand who their child is spending time with so they feel their child is safe. For a foreigner, this can feel intense. You might be sitting in someone's living room, meeting an entire family, on what feels like an early date. The best move here is simple. Show up polite, dress modestly, and don't treat it as a test to perform for. Treat it as a genuine introduction, and it will go a long way. Small gestures matter here too. Bringing a small gift like fruit or tea when visiting a family's home is a common and appreciated custom. One Italian expat described feeling awkward the first time he visited his girlfriend's family in Hanoi, unsure whether to help in the kitchen or simply wait as a guest. Waiting is usually the right move, unless you're clearly invited to help. Number 3. You're being evaluated the entire time, quietly. This connects directly to the last point, but it goes deeper. It's not just the first meeting. Throughout the relationship, many Vietnamese families are quietly assessing your character. Are you stable? Are you respectful? Are you serious about their child's future? This isn't unique to foreigners, but it can feel more intense when you're an outsider. Traditionally, families wanted their daughters to marry someone with good character and financial stability. That mindset hasn't disappeared. It's just less spoken about openly today. If you're a foreigner dating someone in Vietnam, understand that small things matter. How you treat waitstaff, how you speak about your job, whether you show up on time. These aren't random observations. They're part of an ongoing evaluation that shapes how welcomed you become. This evaluation rarely happens out loud. You won't be told you're being tested. Instead, you'll simply notice over time whether the family becomes warmer or more distant. That gradual shift is usually your clearest signal of how things are actually going. Number 5. Casual dating barely exists. In many Western countries, dating multiple people at once is completely normal. In Vietnam, that concept can feel foreign, literally and figuratively. Traditionally, dating in Vietnam has been seen as a path toward a serious relationship, or eventually marriage. Dating multiple people at the same time is often viewed negatively, especially outside the biggest cities. This is shifting in places like Saigon, where younger, urban daters have adopted more casual, Western-style dating habits. But across most of the country, exclusivity is expected once two people start seeing each other regularly. If you're used to a slower, no-labels approach to dating, this can catch you off guard. The mistake many foreigners make is assuming a few dates means nothing serious. In Vietnam, it might already mean something serious to the other person. Have the conversation early, so nobody's expectations are left unspoken. This doesn't mean every relationship in Vietnam moves toward marriage immediately. It simply means the emotional stakes are often higher, earlier, than foreigners expect. Treating the first few dates casually, when the other person already sees it as something meaningful, is one of the most common sources of hurt feelings and confusion. Number 6. The man is expected to pay. Every time. This one surprises a lot of foreigners who come from cultures with split bills and shared expenses. In Vietnam, traditional gender roles still shape a lot of dating behavior. Men are often expected to pay for meals, gifts, and outings consistently, not just occasionally. This isn't necessarily about money itself. It's often seen as a sign of effort, responsibility, and seriousness about the relationship. For some foreigners, this creates uncomfortable questions. Is this genuine interest, or is someone taking advantage of the situation? Honestly, there's no perfect way to know for certain. Talking to other expats who've dated locally can help you understand what's normal versus what's a red flag. But expect to pay, and understand that it carries cultural weight beyond just the bill. In more traditional households, a man who doesn't pay consistently may be seen as uncommitted or even disrespectful, regardless of his actual intentions. At the same time, most genuine partners will notice and appreciate it when you're consistent without ever needing to bring it up and me directly. Number 7. Public affection is almost invisible, but physical closeness isn't. Here's the surprising contradiction almost nobody prepares you for. Public displays of affection, like kissing or hugging in public, are generally frowned upon in Vietnam. Couples rarely show affection openly, even in big cities. But at the exact same time, you'll see something that looks completely different. A young woman sitting close behind her partner on a motorbike, arms wrapped around his waist, riding through the streets. This image is everywhere in Hanoi and Saigon. It looks intimate, even romantic, but it's considered completely normal and non-romantic in a public sense. The lesson here is that physical closeness and romantic display are treated as two separate things in Vietnam. Holding hands might raise eyebrows. Riding together on a scooter won't. Understanding this distinction will save you from reading the wrong signals in both directions. Foreigners sometimes assume the lack of public affection means a relationship is less serious or less warm than it actually is. In reality, affection in Vietnam is often expressed through actions rather than public gestures, things like cooking for someone, checking in throughout the day, or simply showing up reliably. Number 8. Saigon, Hanoi, and rural areas are basically 3 different dating worlds. Vietnam is not one single dating culture. It's several, depending on where you are. In Saigon, dating tends to be more relaxed, more Western influenced, and more casual. Some dating apps are especially among younger foreigners. In Hanoi, if you've opened a dating app more seriousness, you may have noticed dating apps tend to be used with long-term an unusually high number of matches, or sometimes especially if you're English or make friends. This isn't a coincidence. Outside the major cities, certain apps rural areas have a real dating remains far more traditional and private. sometimes intentionally. Family involvement is stronger. For some Vietnamese users, dating a foreigner comes with certain public opinion matters about lifestyle, if you're moving between cities in Vietnam. Don't assume this doesn't mean dating every match has ulterior motives. What works in Saigon might come across just looking for genuine connection. But it does mean foreigners should approach with a bit more awareness than they might elsewhere. Based on where you actually take time to get to know someone, not just what you've read online. A slower dating style that works more than a fast match ever could can come across completely video calling before meeting in person, even within the same country. Asking specific questions about someone's life you understand can help the filter out matches that aren't genuine. Spend time observing how most people around you actually agree that the people worth behave, rather than relying only on what you've heard from other foreigners. Number 10. Learning even basic Vietnamese changes everything. This is the one that consistently surprises long-term expats the most. Vietnamese is a tonal language, and it's genuinely difficult for most foreigners to learn well. But here's the thing. You don't need fluency to see a difference. Even a few basic phrases said with effort and respect are received warmly. It signals something important, that you're not just passing through. Families notice this. Partners notice this. Even strangers on the street notice this. Trying opens doors that money or gifts never will. It shows you're willing to meet Vietnamese culture halfway, instead of expecting everyone to adapt to you. If there's one habit that improves every part of dating in Vietnam, from family approval to daily comfort, it's this one. You don't need to master the tones perfectly. Simple phrases used consistently and sincerely at dinner, with a partner's parents, or with a taxi driver, quietly build more trust than almost anything else on this list. So there you have it. 10 things that genuinely shock foreigners about dating in Vietnam. From curfews and quiet family evaluations, to unspoken rules around affection, money, and communication. None of this means dating in Vietnam is difficult or unwelcoming. It just runs on a different set of expectations than most foreigners grow up with. Understand those expectations, respect them, and you'll find a dating culture that's warm, loyal, and deeply family-oriented. Ignore them, and you'll spend your entire time confused about what went wrong. And that's really what dating in any culture comes down to. Not luck, not language fluency, not even how long you've lived there. Just a willingness to slow down, pay attention, and actually understand the people you're spending your time with. The choice, as always, comes down to how much effort you're willing to put in.